Hi there, welcome to Camden Community Garden. Welcome to my latest instalment, Let's Go Grow. So we're at the end of spring, and as you can see, everything's looking really lush. The tomatoes are looking amazing, but you might remember earlier on in the season, I actually planted some potatoes. So the purpose of today's video is actually to show you my potato harvest, and I'll explain to you along the way what I did throughout the growing season, and I just wanted to share the results with you today. So come join me in the garden, let's go harvest. So here we are in the potato patch, and as you can see, the plants are pretty well done. I'm not worried about what they look like, I'm more worried about what's underneath the soil. The plants looked amazing throughout the growing season, but as you can see, they're well and truly done now. The reason I leave the plants so long, and sometimes I do leave them a bit longer, is the longer you can actually leave them, the harder the skins actually become on the potatoes. You can harvest as soon as you start seeing flowers on your potato vines, but I like to leave them just because I do like to store them for a long period. So the longer you can leave them in the ground, basically the longer you can store them for. You can see, if I move the plants, the hills that I've created. So if you remember back to when I planted these, I actually planted them in trenches and then just covered them over with about 50 mils of soil and compost. After I did that and they started growing, as soon as the plants reached a height of about 8 inches, I then covered them over again and added more compost and soil. So they call this hilling, and what this actually does is it encourages the potato vine to put out new roots, or stolons as they're called, and on these stolons is where your potatoes actually develop. So by doing this, you're actually increasing your yield and the size of your harvest. So enough talk, let's get harvesting. Just a quick tip when harvesting potatoes, and I've done this 1,000 times, I always start off harvesting the potatoes by hand. Leave the fork for later on, otherwise you are bound to put a fork through the biggest and best potato that you've grown. So leave this till last, use these first. So here we are. I've dug all my spuds up, and I'm pretty sure I haven't missed any, but I always tend to. What you can see here is the result of 3 kilos of seed potatoes. So I've had a really good season. These have actually really impressed me, these spuds. So to take you back to the beginning, if you haven't seen that first video, I really recommend you go watch that first video on planting seed potato, because as you can see, the results do speak for themselves. Compost, add lots of compost to your soil as much as you can when you're hilling them, and potash as well. They love potash. I hilled these about 3 times, and to be honest, the last time I probably didn't need to do it. but as you can see, really good results. From 1 kilo of seed potato, I think I probably got 10 kilos of Ottaway Reds and 10 kilos of Sebago there. And as you can see, like, they're really giant spuds. Like, I'm really impressed with those. I've never grown those Ottaway Reds before, and I'll see how they go in the kitchen, but if they're any good, I'll definitely be growing those again next year. So thanks for joining me down here. I'm going to go get out of the rain now. If you could like and subscribe to my channel, that would be fantastic. And what you'll get by doing that, you'll be able to see how I grow crops from start to beginning. It's all good for me to show you, oh wow, these are amazing potatoes, but you really need to see how I actually go about doing that. And if you go back through and watch those older videos from the beginning when I sowed these seed potatoes, you'll see everything I've done. It's not rocket science, and it's just simple steps to gardening success. So happy gardening, and in the meantime, let's go grow.